CL500 was unveiled by Honda towards the end of 2022 as a 2023 year model, forming part of a range of affordable and suitable for all bikes, all sharing the same engine. Between them, all styles of bike and taste are catered for: sports with the CBR 500R, cruiser with a CMX 500 Rebel, street with a CB 500R, adventure touring with a CB 500X, and the CL ticking the scrambler box. The looks of the new CL pay homage to the CL models of the late 60s to early 70s, so it's right on the money for the current trend of modtro bikes. Euro 5 and A2 compliant 471cc 46 brake horsepower parallel twin needs to be worked hard to get the best out of town. The 180-degree crank gives a nice, if what somewhat quiet tone. The power delivery is friendly, nice and predictable, in no way intimidating or wild, but when revved it gives enough of a surge to put a smile on your face. It's smooth, but perhaps slightly jerky at lower speed. Keeping the revs slightly higher gets around this. Overtakes have to be thought out well in advance though, and the motorway is not in its natural or intended environment. I noticed that the CL starts to run out of steam at around about 80 miles an hour and requires a bit of coaxing to get more. The gearbox is nice and smooth with effortless changing up and down the box. I'd say the CL is to be ridden and enjoyed best in its mid-range, making use of its 32 foot-pound of torque. This doesn't sound a lot, and it isn't, but it feels just right on the CL. Suspension-wise, the CL is fitted with 41mm non-adjustable forks and twin shocks with adjustable preload at the rear. It's soft, but with my 6 foot and 80 kilogram frame, it's just about right, and with a state to our roads with endless potholes and speed bumps. I'd go so far as to say there's enough for a bit of light trail work, but the bike would slightly be held back by the low ground clearance and robust Dunlop Trail Max mixed tour tyres, which were perfectly well behaved on the road. Stopping is taken care of at the front with twin piston Nissan caliper biting a 310mm disc. This provides more than enough power with good feel and feedback. At the back, a Nissan single piston caliper chomps a 249mm disc. The ABS is non-adjustable, so you can't turn it off, but it's not intrusive and only kicks in if you're really hard on the anchors. The dash is a simple affair. It's a single unit with LCD display. It gives you all the vital information and nothing more. The display is quite dim and it's hard to read when it's bright outside, but it's lit and it's easy to read at night. There is no rev counter, but there's not really a need for one there, and the bike is so well mannered the additional one would be no bonus anyway. All the lights are LED and more than bright enough, except for maybe on the darkest of country lanes. The CL is easy to ride. It has plenty of room with a relaxed, comfy riding position. In standard form, it has a seat height of 790mm, and its nicely positioned pegs mated with wide bars make for an extra comfortable riding position. The switchgear is simple and easy to operate with big chunky buttons, all within easy reach. My demo had the Adventure Pack optional extras comprising of more Scrambler-esque mudguard, headlight shroud, sideboard, handguards, trail pegs and rear shock covers. I was also blessed with the travel pack options of a 12-volt power point, a tank pad and heated grips which work wonderfully. On top of this I was also supplied with a stitched and padded higher brown leather seat which adds another 30mm to the seat height. Obviously these extras do add to the price of a bike if you wanted them. On the road I found the CL was a friendly and frugal bike. As I've previously said, the motorway is not its habitat, but it will happily take you there if you want, just don't expect too much of it there. In and out of town, on twisty A and B roads is where the little Honda comes into its own. Wind it up and it's happy to be hustled through corners and shorter straights, only beginning to complain when you push it beyond what its design brief was for. As I've said before, overtakes require a little bit more planning than on a bike with a bit more poke, but once you get used to how the engine reacts and how it puts down its power, they're really not a problem. Around town the bike is light and easy to manoeuvre, making light work of traffic. As for off-road, I didn't want to venture any further than a few hard-packed farm tracks. Whilst I'm sure the suspension could take a bit of light green lane riding, I'm not convinced low ground clearance would be happy with much more, at least not without a bash plate. I had the CL for the best part of a fortnight, and I use it as my daily rider. Getting around on my days off and also on my 40-mile commute to and from work every day. The 12-litre tank is by no means huge, but even when the fuel light had been telling me off for some time, I still only put £12.50 in, and that filled it to the brim. Economy-wise, I laughed out loud when I saw the fuel offering around 80 miles to the gallon at times, but averaging just under that. Tank range is claimed at 207 miles, and I've no reason to doubt this. Build quality is of the highest standard, but what else would you expect from a Honda? It's very well put together and should certainly stand the test of time and abuse. All in all, I'll say the CL is a great value little bike suitable for riders of any experience. Sure, it's never going to set the world on fire with its performance, but that's really missing the point of the bike. If you try to ride it like a sports bike, then you'll be disappointed. But that's not what it's for. Instead, relax, revel in its friendly, easygoing nature, and just enjoy the ride. If you want a stylish, well-built and reliable first bike or everyday bike, then you won't go far wrong with it. Okay, it won't thank you for long distances on the motorway, but it will do it if you want to do it, and it will gently sip away the petrol rather than gulping it down. Coming in at £6,149 with a 2-year warranty, the CL is ridiculously good value for money from such an established marque. There may be other bikes out there with a bit more flair and a bit more performance for a similar price, but with this you get the kudos of a Honda name and reputation. I'm giving the CL a solid 8 out of 10. It does exactly what it is designed for, and in my mind makes a great first bike or second bike for commuting.